Most people think feeling more at night means something is wrong with them. They assume that if emotions become stronger after dark, if memories return more clearly, if thoughts become louder, or if small things suddenly feel heavier, it must mean they are too sensitive, too emotional, or unable to switch off. But psychology suggests something very different. Sometimes, the reason you feel more at night is not because your mind is weak. It is because nighttime removes many of the distractions that protect you during the day. And when the world becomes quieter, parts of you that were silent finally begin to speak. For some people, this is when hidden emotions rise. For others, it is when deep reflection begins. And for many, it is the only time they truly notice what they have been carrying inside all day. What often looks like emotional intensity is sometimes a sign of self-awareness, emotional depth, and a mind that processes life more carefully than most people realize. If you often feel more at night, psychology says there may be deeper reasons behind it. The first reason is that your brain becomes more emotionally open when external noise disappears. During the day, your attention is constantly divided. Conversations, tasks, messages, responsibilities, and movement keep your mind occupied. Even when you are tired, your brain stays focused on what must be done next. But at night, that pressure slowly fades. Psychology shows that when stimulation decreases, internal thoughts become easier to hear. This means emotions that were pushed aside during the day can suddenly return with more strength. A moment you ignored in the afternoon may suddenly feel important at midnight. A sentence someone said earlier may replay in your mind. Even a feeling you did not notice before can suddenly become clear. This does not mean you are overreacting. It often means your mind finally has space to process what it could not process earlier. Some people notice this when they lie down and suddenly remember something small that hurt them. Others feel it when the room becomes quiet and they realize they are more tired emotionally than they thought. Research indicates that emotional awareness often increases in quiet environments because fewer external demands compete for attention. In other words, night does not create those feelings. It reveals them. And that ability to notice what is happening inside you is often a quiet strength. The second reason is that deeper thinkers often become more mentally active at night. Not everyone experiences nighttime the same way. For some people, night simply means rest. But for others, night creates a kind of mental clarity they do not feel during the day. When everything slows down, their thoughts become more connected. Questions become bigger. Memories become sharper. Ideas become deeper. Psychology often links this with reflective thinking. People who naturally think beneath the surface often notice patterns more strongly when the world is calm. They replay conversations, examine emotions, and search for meaning in things others quickly forget. This is why nighttime can suddenly make ordinary experiences feel profound. A simple moment from earlier in the day can turn into a larger reflection about relationships, identity, or life direction. You may wonder why one message changed your mood so much, why one silence felt meaningful, or why certain memories return when everything becomes still. This does not always mean you are trapped in overthinking. Sometimes it means your mind is built to explore deeply. Of course, reflection can become heavy if it turns into self-criticism. But in healthy form, it is also where insight begins. Many people understand themselves best during late, quiet hours, because that is when their deeper thoughts finally surface. The third reason is that nighttime lowers emotional defenses. During the day, people often stay emotionally protected without even realizing it. You answer questions automatically. You move from one task to another. You stay functional. But night often weakens those protective layers. Psychology shows that fatigue can reduce emotional control, which means feelings become harder to hide from yourself. That is why people sometimes feel sadness they did not expect, miss someone more intensely, or suddenly feel vulnerable without a clear reason. Even strong people experience this. You might spend the whole day appearing calm, then feel unexpectedly emotional when sitting alone at night. This happens because emotional energy has been used all day. And by night, there is less effort left for suppression. But there is something important here. The fact that your emotions appear when defenses drop does not make those emotions dramatic. It often means they were real all along. Night simply gives honesty a chance to surface. Some people cry more easily at night, not because they are fragile, but because they have finally stopped performing strength for the world. And often, that emotional honesty is healthier than pretending nothing affects you. The fourth reason is that sensitive people often experience stronger emotional contrast after dark. People with high emotional sensitivity usually absorb more during the day than they realize. They notice tone changes, small disappointments, quiet tension, facial expressions, and things others dismiss quickly. Many of these details stay stored in the background until night arrives. Research indicates that emotionally sensitive people often need longer processing time because they take in more subtle information. This means your mind may still be sorting through emotional details long after the day has ended. A conversation that seemed normal to everyone else may still stay with you because you noticed what was left unsaid. A room that felt slightly uncomfortable may still affect you because your nervous system registered more than others noticed. This sensitivity is often misunderstood. People may call it overreacting when in reality it is a deeper perception. And while sensitivity can feel exhausting, it is also connected to empathy, intuition, and strong emotional intelligence. The same mind that feels deeply also often understands deeply. The fifth reason is that nighttime creates a rare moment where your true emotional priorities become visible. During busy hours, people often focus on what seems urgent. But at night, what matters emotionally often rises to the surface. You may suddenly think about what you miss, what you want, what feels unresolved, or what part of your life needs attention. Psychology suggests that quiet moments often help reveal unmet emotional needs because distractions no longer cover them. That is why night can bring questions like, why did that moment stay with me? Why do I still think about that person? Why does this part of my life feel unfinished? These thoughts are not always problems. Sometimes they are signals. They show you what your mind has been trying to tell you beneath daily noise. And when you listen carefully, those late-night feelings often reveal important truths about what you need, what you value, and what deserves more care. The sixth reason is that feeling more at night can mean you have a strong inner world. Some people are deeply connected to internal experience. They do not just move through life externally. They also live richly inside their own thoughts, emotions, memories, and reflections. Night often activates that inner world because silence gives it room. This is why certain people suddenly feel creative, emotional, thoughtful, or deeply aware after dark. A quiet room becomes enough to awaken ideas, memories, and emotional understanding. While others see nighttime only as emptiness, you may experience it as emotional depth. And that is not something to fear. It simply means your inner life is active. The important part is learning how to hold that depth gently instead of letting it overwhelm you. Because not every deep feeling needs to become a worry. Sometimes it only needs acknowledgement. If you feel more at night, it does not automatically mean you are too emotional. It may mean your mind becomes honest when life becomes quiet. It may mean you process deeply, notice more, and carry emotional awareness others often miss. And although that can feel heavy sometimes, it is also where many forms of self-understanding begin. Some of the clearest truths people discover about themselves arrive in silence, long after the day has ended. So if night often makes you feel more, perhaps that is not a weakness. Perhaps it is the hour when your deeper self finally has permission to speak. And if this kind of insight speaks to you, subscribe, like, and share for more psychological reflections that help you understand the hidden strengths behind the way you think, feel, and experience the world.